according to prosecutors from both countries. Among them were members of 5 of the 6 Mexican drug cartels designated earlier this month by the Trump administration as foreign terrorist organizations. However, it is unclear whether Mexico adhered to formal extradition procedures, with the government referring to the handover as a transfer in a statement. Back home in Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has officially enacted the 54.99 trillion naira 2025 appropriation bill into law. The National Assembly approved the bill on February 13, 2025, following an increase from the original amount of 49.7 trillion naira proposed by President Bola Tinubu. The signing took place during a short ceremony in the president's office today. The 2025 Appropriation Act signifies a remarkable 99.96% rise compared to the 2024 budget, which was set at 27.5 trillion naira. This increase signifies expected rise in revenues from agencies such as the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the Nigeria Customs Service. The budget is designed to tackle critical sectors, including security, infrastructure, education, and health, with the provision of $200 million aimed at offsetting the effects of recent reductions in U.S. health assistance. The 2025 budget is predicated on ambitious economic projections, targeting crude oil production at 2.06 million barrels per day, with the benchmark price set at $75 per barrel. Furthermore, the federal government anticipates an exchange rate of 1,500 naira to the US dollar and aims to decrease inflation from 34.8% to 15% within the year. A key element of the fiscal strategy includes tax reforms, which President Tinubu asserts are intended to bolster revenue generation and promote economic stability. The proposed tax reform entails raising the value-added tax to 12.5% by 2026, while exempting essential items such as food and medicine to ease the financial burden on households. Additionally, the reform suggests reallocating VAT revenues to benefit states that contribute more, a proposal that has ignited discussions regarding regional economic inequalities. The 2025 Appropriation Act reflects a 99.96% increase compared to the 2024 budget of 27.5 trillion naira. Now, about 12 noon today, February 28th, ousted Speaker Mudashiru Obasa made another dramatic entry into the Lagos State House of Assembly complex, this time accompanied by a group of thugs who forcefully took possession of the premises. VOP News learned that the latest development unfolded as the substantive Speaker Mojisola Miranda, along with 34 lawmakers, appeared before the Lagos High Court to defend the suit filed against them by Obasa. Returning to the assembly for the second time, Obasa arrived with a large number of thugs who were strategically positioned around the complex, creating a heightened sense of tension. Eyewitnesses who spoke with Vanguard confirmed that the group took over both the interior and exterior of the assembly complex, further escalating the situation. However, observations made that legislative staff were noticeably absent from the premises, which raised concerns about the safety of the assembly's operations. You do recall that Obasa had previously stormed the assembly complex on Thursday, holding a plenary with only 4 lawmakers. His actions have since been condemned by lawmakers loyal to Speaker Miranda, who insists that the embattled ex-speaker no longer has any legal authority over the House. And still on the world news at 6, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has been captured in a video singing and celebrating the Supreme Court rulings on Rivers State. You recall that the Supreme Court ordered the Central Bank of Nigeria to stop the release of funds to the Rivers State government forthwith until a proper House of Assembly is constituted. The court also ordered Martin Amawule to resume sitting immediately with all elected members. The Apex Court also barred the Accountant General of the Federation of the Assembly established in Rivers State and other government agencies from disbursing funds to the Rivers State government until it complies with previous court rulings. In a judgment delivered by Justice Emmanuel Akomaye, the 5-member panel unanimously dismissed a cross appeal filed by Governor Sim Fubara which challenged the legitimacy of the House of Assembly led by Speaker Martin Amaewhule. Following this development, Wike spokesman Larry Olayinka, in a post via X, shared a video of his principal with the former governor of Enugu State, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, singing and praising God. However, let's take a listen to Nyesom Wike very recently in reaction to the Supreme Court judgment today concerning the stoppage of the disbursements of funds or allocation of funds to Rivers State and the resumption of plenary with Martin Amaewhule.
The only thing that can happen now is to anybody to appeal to God. If there's an opportunity for you to appeal to God. Supreme Court has made it very clear that you cannot have a democracy without a legislature. The Supreme Court has made it clear, cannot say there's a government without a legislature. It is unheard of where anybody will say 3 people will constitute an assembly to make laws for the entire state. It's unheard of. It has nothing to do with an individual, whether you like this person's face or not. But it is what is important is that can 3 people make law for a state? Not to even talk about appropriation. The Federal High Court said, look, you can't do this. You cannot do it, and therefore set aside everything they've done. 3 people will screen commissioners, 3 people with all kinds of things. A governor will go and bring down the House of Legislature and will do as if nothing has happened. The arm of government, independent arm of government. And people pretend as if nothing has gone wrong. You're talking about Wike. It's not about Wike. It's not about me. What we are saying is, can you, for whatever it is, go and demolish the building of another arm of government? No consequences. Then you carry the legislator to your own house. Not even carrying the proper legislature. 3 people to sit inside government house, begin to make laws, begin to pass an appropriation bill. And you are spending money. And you say, nothing will happen. You want an appeal. Court of Appeal said, this is wrong. We can't continue with this. Petitions were written against the justices, Federal High Court. Monteshaw gave the judgment. Abdul Malik gave judgment. Look, having not have any appropriation, you cannot expend money. Petition. And that's what we see in this country. When you say something, people will begin to carry blackmail and will fall trap to that. So for me, it is happiness for Rivers people. It is happiness for Nigerians that yes, that person says, this impunity must stop. Enough is enough. We can't continue with this. You are aware when the issue of local government came up, a governor elected who has taken oath to abide by the constitution came out to say, that's a corrupt judgment, castigating the judiciary. But thank God, today the Appellate Court has said it all. Go back. You have no budget. Central Bank, Accountant General, you cannot continue to release money when there's no government until you present your budget to the appropriate assembly, which is the 27 members. No money should be released. You refuse to follow the Electoral Act in terms of conducting local government election. What was the issue? INEC Don't relieve what that is. If you don't comply, we then call give another. He said no, you will not obey. And Nigerians were clapping. People like Atiku were hailing him that yes, you've done well. I hope they will also hail him today. I hope the chairman of PDP Governors Forum will also hail him today. Because if Supreme Court has come out to say enough is enough, we must not truncate our democracy. If you have allowed this, one day, one member will constitute an assembly. And there's nothing you can do. One member. You can imagine 3 people. One said is the speaker. So two people are now the ones. I mean, it's unheard of. So it has nothing to do with the wicked. We must commend the judiciary for being bold, for being firm, to say no, this should not be allowed. This impunity must not be allowed. I've told people that Rivers State is not like any other state. We are not prisoners of war. We are not conquered. We must challenge anything we know that's illegal. We will not allow it. It's not, you can do that in any other state. But as far as Rivers State is concerned, we will not allow it. It doesn't matter what time it takes us. Yes. Look at how the assembly, since their salaries, allowances, for how many years now? Because they are carrying out their function. So for us, not just happy, we're happy that the right thing has been done. All we have, we say, look, nobody should go into violence, no fighting, allow the law to take its, I know that the law will take its control.
You just listened to Inyesum Wike right there addressing the press reaction to the Supreme Court judgment earlier on today. Meanwhile, Nnamdi Kanu, the wife of the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, has denied sexual allegation harassment made by the colleague Natasha Akpoti. Earlier, the lawmaker had accused Akpabio of making sexual advances at her, adding that her motion was denied because she refused to yield to the Senate President. Reacting to the allegation while addressing newsmen in Abuja on Friday, Nnamdi stated that Natasha was maligning her husband and creating content for personal gains. She described the allegation as demeaning, adding that Akpabio and Natasha's husband are very good friends. The wife of the Senate President described her husband as a disciplined and jovial person who is often misinterpreted. You're currently listening to The World News right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into a news analysis segment where obviously I have Mr. Peter Anusike right here with me in the studio, giving us his insight into some of the issues read out here on The World News at 6. Do kindly stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. You are still listening to the world news right here at 6. Mr. Peter Anosike is with us in the studio. Mr. Peter Anosike, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Let's start off with the situation in Lagos State. We heard in the news, as you heard in the news, that Obasa stormed the Lagos State National Assembly today with thugs as well as some members that are not supposed to be there, but the House was not sitting. What does this tell you is good? What's the meaning of this?
Well, for me, the House was properly adjourned.
Okay.
The House the House was properly adjourned.
Okay.
Mudashiru Obasa is just behaving like a Rambo on the news.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what he is doing in a civilized state, it shouldn't happen.
Okay.
Because as we speak, Merenda remains the speaker. She had not resigned. She had not been impeached.
Okay.
So, but the police gave this man security aids to be going about causing mayhem. Going about causing mayhem. Yesterday, Lagos State House of Assembly adjourned, and the adjournment was proper. It has not reconvened.
Okay.
But he went yesterday and sat with 4 people. A house that has 40 members, because Lagos State has 20 recognized local governments. So
yeah.
they were now divided into LCDs. So a house of 40 members, he sat with 4 people. Is that proper? Understand me? So the issue of Lagos is far different from that of River State. So what Obasa is doing, he is behaving like Rambo on the news, and it's not proper.
Interesting when you say this, because let's look at what's going on in River State. I'm sure you had Nyesom Wike grant a press interview this evening.
If you had listened to me, if you had watched me when he was talking, I removed the microphone because
you removed your
headphone because I hate hearing that voice.
Why do you hate hearing it?
I hate hearing that voice.
I want us to be objective in reaction to
I
this.
removed the headphone so that I will not hear. I don't want to hear his voice busting my ear. This thing.
Well,
drum.
We have to talk about it because according to him, he says it was unconstitutional to have just 4 River State House of Rep members in the House.
Because they were the only authentic members.
Okay, fine.
27 others decamped.
Okay.
They defected to another party, and the Constitution says once you defect to another party, you lose your seat.
Okay.
So those 4 members are the only authentic members.
All right. Now, Mr. Justice Emmanuel Akomaye, the 5-member panel unanimously dismissed a cross appeal filed by Sim Fubara, which challenged the legitimacy of the House of Assembly led by Speaker Amawule. That's one. The same court has actually ordered Martin Amawule to resume sitting immediately with all elected members, that is those who supposedly defected. In the same breath, said that the defected lawmakers' judgment has been reserved. Can you help us expatiate on that?
Well, there are several cases.
Okay.
There are several cases from River State, both individuals and state government, that's at the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court.
All right.
So the case that the judge decided was not the issue of defection.
Okay. Was not the issue of defection.
It wasn't. It wasn't the issue of defection.
Okay.
It was the issue of budget.
Of the budget.
Understand me?
Okay.
That was the issue that was decided. Understand me?
Okay.
So a court is not a Father Christmas. A court does not give what is not asked.
Okay.
So because the issue of defection was not in this particular case.
Okay.
So they reserved that aside.
All right.
Understand me? But they are saying that the House was not properly constituted before the budget was presented.
All right.
So that was the case that 5-man panel deliberated on and decided.
All right. Mr. Peter Anosike, the court knows about the defection of those supposed 27 lawmakers, right?
That's why I say the court is not a Father Christmas.
Okay.
It was that particular issue was not before them.
It was not before them.
Sure.
But then they reserved judgment on that.
On a separate case.
On a separate case. That is filed on a separate case.
Sure.
But if the court knew that there is a case about that, why asking that Martin Amawule should resume sitting immediately along with the other House of Representatives?
Because it is a separate case.
It's a separate case.
An instance, if a court knows that somebody committed murder,
Okay.
and the issue of stealing was brought before all the court, it can never go to the issue of murder because it wasn't asked for. Understand me? They would deliberate on the issue of stealing first, and before talking of the murder case, which is a very different issue.
All right.
So that's what happened today. So we shouldn't confuse this.
No, that's the essence of the analysis segment. We get to educate ourselves and understand these issues appropriately so things are not, misinterpreted. In that particular instance, that the CBN has been ordered to stop any funding to Rivers State government. How does the court intend the government to take care of itself? For example, allowances, pensions, salaries of staff members and the workers in Rivers State. If you are saying that you are ordering that until that budget is represented to a properly constituted panel of the State's National Assembly. Now, are we saying if Fubara doesn't recognize Martin Amawule and the supposed defected gangs, that there will be no money allocated to the National Assembly? Like, is this a way of compelling Fubara's hand to supposedly identify the validity of these individuals, especially now that their case is still in court?
Well, for me, the judgment has no human face.
In other words? Because
government is about the people, and it is the people that this judgment are going to suffer.
Okay.
Understand me? Once salaries are not going to be paid, no project is going to be constructed. It is the people of Rivers State that are going to suffer this, not a semi-Fubara. Understand me? That's why I say that the judgment has no human face. So when you want to give a judgment, think of justice. Think of justice. So there's no justice in this judgment.
In this judgment, there's no justice at all.
At all, because it's going to suffer the masses of Rivers State. That's why I say it has no human face.
All right, Mr. Peter Anosike, do you think that if this House now, of obviously the Martins Amawule-led faction will be celebrating and jubilating, they will possibly sit in the House on Monday? Do we see an impeachment plan, an impeachment coup or something that is to impeach the state governor in the works? Do we see this guy sitting to impeach him?
Well, I can say that it is very, very possible. It is very, very possible, but it will be very, very unfortunate.
Okay.
It is possible, but it's going to be very, very unfortunate because, one, Rivers State, since 1967 it was created, it has never known peace.
Okay.
Rivers State has never known peace since it was created.
All right.
So the cost of the creation is still following them till date.
All right.
And I don't see it ending soon.
You don't see it ending soon, so you think they are going...
It is a cost state.
Mr. Peter Anosike. All right, let's look at this. As it stands now, we don't know yet if that is what these guys will have in the pipeline, but Governor Sim Fubara has eventually responded to the Supreme Court ruling. In fact, he acknowledged the Supreme Court ruling of recognizing Wright Martins Amawule and 26 other lawmakers as valid members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, which obviously is marking a major shift in the ongoing political crisis in the state. But the Commissioner for Information, Joe Johnson, said that Fubara has taken note of the Supreme Court's judgment regarding the state funds and the administration of local government in Rivers. Now, he said, while admitting that the Supreme Court's decision effectively reinstating the 27 lawmakers, Fubara is maintaining that the core issue of their defection, which led to their disputed status, was not addressed by the Apex Court.
That's why I'm saying that
Exactly.
It is a different case file.
He says it remains pending before the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt, and that now he's using the opportunity to assure the people of Rivers that his administration remains committed, but they are deliberating to see the next line of action to take. What other next line of action would he take other than having to represent that budget with the 26 lawmakers that supposedly defected and being headed by Martin Zamawule? Then what about Okojumbo? Obviously, that one will no longer be the speaker for now since the Apex Court has ruled in that matter.
Well, for me, for now, Fubara has his hands tied at the back. He is in a very difficult situation. But the fact of the matter remains that Martin Amawende and the 26 others are still not authentic members of that house because they have defected.
But Nyesom Wike is jubilating. He's celebrating already. And he's saying that this was what he predicted would happen.
Well, Fulbright is already building a psychiatric hospital. Understand me? Some people need to go for mental evaluation.
I don't understand what you're.
I didn't mention anything, but as I said, Fulbright is building a psychiatric hospital at Obiakbono. Understand me? And some people have to go there, even no matter how this case ends. But that psychiatric need to evaluate some people's mental state.
All right, Mr. Peter.
Especially those from there.
Mr. Peter Onoske, let's look at a situation like this. How do you think this will affect the political atmosphere in Rivers? What do you anticipate? Because you know how that state is like a bottleneck. It's sitting on a pendulum, and one needs to be careful in tipping it to a point where it becomes volatile. What if we begin to hear the Niger Deltans say what they want to say, especially those at the riverine areas, the Ijos and all of that have shown support and said, you know what, I want to show support. I'm standing with Fubara and we don't care about the Apex Court judgment. How do you think this sets the tone in the political atmosphere there? For
me, the only thing that differentiates animals from human beings is the law.
Okay.
Understand me? The only thing that differentiates animals from human beings is the law. When you remove the law from society, we are all animals. It means that you will be taking laws into your own hands, which animals do. Understand me? So, but when there's a law and that law is not delivering justice, you have to behave like animals. Understand me?
Okay.
Because when you have a problem, you go to court to seek for a redress, and you're not getting that redress. Will you continue that to go there? The answer is no. Understand me? The answer is no, and that's what the Nigerian court has turned into under this APC administration, because it is no more dispensing justice. It is no more dispensing justice. But for me, I want everybody to be calm. Let us see how this thing goes.
All right. Some people say in a sane environment, Fubara would have resigned long ago and thereafter faced criminal charges in court.
About
that the dismissal of the case by the Supreme Court means that he has been operating without a budget. You know, thinking that it's funny how some of these issues, very simple to deduce, are made to seem complicated in Nigeria. In fact, I also think that prior to the fear of impeachment, which obviously spurred some supposed conspiracy by Fubara and all those who are considered his supporters, they're saying that who was the speaker prior to that, you know, in the destruction of the assembly complex, who was the speaker, that it never changed. Whoever was the speaker then never changed. And that Edison Ehie, who infamously declared himself a factional speaker, that this was the genesis of the drama being acted in court today, especially the Rivers State Judiciary, where members allow themselves to be used as reckless tools for lawlessness.
Some people are fair weather friends.
Okay.
Because of this judgment, some people are going that to start switching sides.
All right.
Understand me? But for me, till the war comes to an end, Martin Amawene is not, and his 26 others are not members of the State House of Assembly. Unless that part of the Constitution is expunged or is amended. Understand me? He said once you defect, that the votes are not transferable.
Yes.
And there's a precedent in Cross River State when Ben Ayade
Yes.
defected to APC, and the members of the Cross River State House of Assembly joined him. They lost their seat. There was another precedent in Ebonyi State when Dave Omahi defected to APC, and the members of the State House of Assembly that joined him lost their seat. Then why can't it happen in River State?
All right.
So do we have different constitutions?
No.
So that section of the constitution remains unless we are no more being guided by the 1999 constitution as amended.
All right. Now, Mr. Peter Anosike, let's look at this. There are supposed reports circulated on social media, which is obviously unconfirmed, that President Donald Trump is calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, considering a lot of other international community members, Nigerians in diaspora, even military men in diaspora are calling for his release. But this post is unverified. Donald Trump is dealing with immigration issues, dealing with tax reform, dealing with a couple of issues in the United States of America. Although they say Donald Trump's chief of staff was one of the legal representatives who was handling the entire self-determination.
That's Susan Wales.
Yes, she was the team that was in charge for having to supposedly recognize the United States of Biafra or the Biafran state as a whole. That was a firm working towards it. But now this particular information that is coming up obviously is untrue. Donald Trump has not reacted to that. But do you think there
you
is
say it's untrue, which means you have already passed judgment.
What I'm trying to say where I'm coming from for this particular information to have circulated, where I'm coming from is this. Is there at any point in time that Donald Trump will have any form of way to address this matter? That's one. Two, the fact that Nnamdi Kanu has dual citizenship, we've not heard the British government say anything aside from other members within the British who reside in Britain who have called for his release. So do we think because of his chief of staff that this kind of story circulated, that indeed possibly Donald Trump reacted to the continuous attention of Nnamdi Kanu?
Well, I'm not aware of the story that you are talking about.
It was a Facebook user who posted it, but obviously it's untrue. But the thing is, it's stemming from
saying that it's
chief of
untrue.
staff.
Saying that it's untrue, which means that you have confirmed it.
Yes, it's untrue. But the chief of staff, obviously because of her link to the supposed Biafran agenda to make it official, do you think that is the reason why such a story would circulate?
For me, I don't really know. Right now, Donald Trump is very busy.
Okay.
UK Prime Minister is in Washington as we speak.
Yes.
Zelensky, that is also in Washington D.C. And mind you, last week Emmanuel Macron is there. So the strong man is is back, and everybody is rushing to America. That's because once we mention Donald Trump, they all catch cold.
All right.
So, but I pray that he works into this case.
Matter. Wow,
sure.
That would be a very huge one if he does. Well, Nneoma Akpabio, the wife of Senate President Akpabio, has denied sexual allegation harassment made by Natasha Akpoti. People are wondering, why is the wife responding for Godswill Akpabio? For example, Nneoma is actually saying that that is a denied motion and it's untrue. And she actually disclosed that it was a demeaning allegation and that Akpabio and Natasha's husband are very good friends. She described her husband as a disciplined and jovial person who is often misinterpreted.
The mountain should hear that.
The mountain should hear that.
Yes.
What do you mean by that? This is the wife defending her husband. I would have expected the husband to come out and respond.
What do you expect? Excuse me. What she said, what she's supposed to say. But Natasha is not the first person to have accused Akpabio of that thing. Remember the NDDC woman.
Okay, yes.
Understand me? Remember her. So this is not or the first. Understand me? It's not Natasha. Is not the first person that has done that. And another woman has also said the same thing.
Okay.
So, and I also watched the screening of Bianca Ojukwu.
Okay.
And I saw how some people were staring at Bianca, forgetting what they call for, that the woman is here for screening. Understand me? So, well, or the woman said what she's supposed to, is her husband.
But he had been accused of this kind of allegation had been on him, I think, when he was the NDDC boss. And this is another part.
That was when that woman said that Akpabio sexually harassed her and she had to snap her, unquote. Understand me?
That's what I'm saying. So that case, that kind of allegation has been conferred on him before, and now Natasha is coming. But reactions, anyways, from the media aide of Senator Akpabio is that Natasha is angry that she's no longer the one in charge of some committees. She's the head of about 3 different committees, and she's no longer in charge of that, and that's why she's angry. But I would have expected the response to be more than that, because the allegations are actually very huge on his personality.
For me, Akpabio should have responded by himself.
Exactly.
Because when Bill Clinton was accused, Clinton didn't come to defend him.
Okay.
Understand me? So Akpabio should have responded by himself.
Right.
But we have seen so many of these things against him.
All right.
Understand me? We have seen so many of this about him. So his media aide would not want to lose his job.
All right.
Media aide is like the job of a bodyguard. Because once the person that you are guarding dies, you lose your job.
All right.
So you must do everything so that your boss will not die. So
right.
understand me?
All right.
So for me, you don't work from statements from those type of people.
Right.
Maybe from the wife or the family or the media aides.
All right.
They are supposed to defend their boss because that's their meal ticket.
Ireti Kingibe too has come out to discuss this about Natasha, saying that the Senate president had consistently blocked her motions from being heard on the floor each time certain issues are raised, and that some of her colleagues advised her to see Akpabio privately in his office. That is, Natasha was saying that some of her colleagues advised her to see Akpabio privately in his office. Now, apparently, because of the fact that she has rejected Akpabio's sexual advances towards her, that's the reason why she's been ignored in the house when she wants to speak. Now, Ireti, speaking on a Monitor television program today, she said that she is not close to Akpabio to discuss sexual harassment, but that she recalled a conversation she had with Natasha, who claimed that Akpabio had invited her to a hotel, but she told the Kogi lawmaker to meet senators only at their homes and offices. That's what she said, that she only goes to collect documents on their behalf, and that let me read out what she said. I collected some documents for Senator Natasha, informed her, and went to her house. She told me that she was supposed to discuss something with Akpabio, but he said to meet him at a hotel. And I told her that you only meet the senators in their homes and offices, not hotels. And while we were discussing, her husband came in. So obviously, for Natasha to be bold in saying this on national television today, and for Ireti to also disclose that she had been informed by Natasha that these were the...
Before this time.
Yes, before now, that this is basically what made her not to want to go see Akpabio, because he had told her to come meet him at a hotel. That is something that is so huge for
when you
ignore.
put one together,
Yeah.
It can be 2, it can be 11.
It can be 2, it can be 11.
Yes.
This maths is confusing. It can be 2.
Yes.
It can be 11.
Yes.
Help me explain the maths. Like it can be 1 + 1 = 2, or 11. How?
You can remove that's what is in the middle. It becomes 11.
What? Mr. Peter Nosike, you know what? Peter Anosike, well, I expect Godswill Akpabio to react appropriately to this. The response he gave through his media aid is not convincing enough to counter the allegations from Natasha.
With what Ireti said, shows that there have been this thing before now. Understand me? There have been a kind of a suggestion or before now. Because they have held this discussion before it didn't start now. It did not start now.
So how do you think this reflects on the personality of Godswill Akpabio, if indeed it's true? Because I said again, his reaction is not firm. His reaction doesn't seem solid. In fact, she has sued Godswill Akpabio to court, and she came again live on television to say the things she said. How does this reflect on his personality, and what kind of image does it give the National Assembly?
Well, for me, I keep on saying that the 10th Senate is the worst Senate that we have ever had. I thought that the 9th Senate would have been the worst. But the 9th Senate surprised me when they rejected the Buhari appointee.
Okay.
That is, this woman now that Akpabio confirmed, understand, as the Minister of tourism and whatever, the woman that did not do NYSC.
Okay.
Understand? Because up to today, she had no NYSC certificate.
Okay.
She was rejected in the 9th Senate.
Okay.
Only for the 10th Senate to accept her.
Right.
So she's now a minister and also a core member, which doesn't happen anywhere except under Akpabio.
Okay.
So for me, there are a lot of things are not really as transparent as it should be.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Peter Anosike. Thank you for taking your time to give us your insight on some of the issues raised here in the World News at 6. We sincerely do appreciate your input.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. And now to wrap up the World News at 6, here again are the top stories. Hospitalized Pope no longer in critical condition. Mexico sends 29 drug cartel members to the U.S. amid Trump tariff threat. President Tinubu signs 54.99 trillion naira 2025 budget. President Tinubu signs Obasa storms Lagos Assembly again as thugs take over premises. Wike reacts to Supreme Court ruling on Fubara's government. That's a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Esther Mwachuku. Good evening and thank you for listening.